Your secrets, if you really look at yourself, you would be speechless. What happened to being doctors and teachers? What happened to being your brother's keeper? Nowadays, kids more worried about the...
Hello everyone, my name is Kalumi. I am a tarot reader, natal chart reader, and I also do numerology readings. Follow me at tarot.lagos on Instagram, and my email address is tarsn.star@gmail.com. Thank you very much.
You're in the mix with the DJ always banging the real hip-hop. DJ
BandClap.
First things first, I pop up, freaks all the honeys, dummies, playboy bunnies, those wanting money. Those the ones I like, cause they don't get Nathan but penetration. Unless it smells like sanitation. Garbage I turn like doorknobs. Heartthrob never, black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Coochie down to the socks. Rings and watch filled with rocks. And my jam knocking your Mitsubishi. Girls pee-pee when they see me. Navajos creep me in they teepee. As I lay down laws like Island Coppet. Stop it, if you think you're gonna make a profit. Don't see my ones, don't see my guns. Get it? Now tell your friends Papa hit it, then split it in two. As I flow with the Junior Mafia, I don't know what the hell's stopping ya. I'm clocking ya, Versace shade watching ya. Once you grin, I'm in, game begins. First I talk about how I dress is this, and diamond necklaces, stretch Lexuses. The sex is just immaculate. From the back I get deeper and deeper, help you reach the climax that your man can't make. Call him, tell him you be home real late and sing the break.
Silly me my day for thinking that you'd stay. Gave you my heart and then you ran away. Either I'm stupid, I'm foolish, or you're playing me. But it seems we were never really meant to be. So I thought I would try something new. I wanted to find out if I could live happy without you. And it turned out I wasn't living at all. But I would have never known if you had this played alone. I was living the dream, believing things that just ain't true. Oh, I can't believe I ever believed in you. You had me chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold.
Sick of that song on how it's so long. Thought he worked his until I handled my biz. There I is, major pain like Damon Wayans. Low down dirty even like his brother Keenan scheming. Don't leave your girl around me, true player for real. Ask Puff Dad D. You ringing bells with bags from Chanel. Baby Benz traded in your Hyundai XL. Fully equipped CD changer with the cell. She beat me, meet me at 12. Where you at? Flipping jobs, paying car notes. While I'm swimming in your women like the breaststroke. Right stroke, left stroke was the best stroke. Death stroke, tongue all down the throat. Nothing left to do but send her home to you. I'm through. Can you sing the song for me, boo?
BandClap.
I bit into the apple. I took the wooden nickel. Yeah, I was blinded to my core, and I went into the wrong door. And furthermore, I was living a dream, believing things that just ain't true. Oh, I can't believe I ever believed in you. You had me chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. I was living a dream, believing things that just ain't true. Oh, I can't believe I ever believed in you. You had me chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. I was living a dream, believing things that just ain't true. Oh, I can't believe I ever believed in you. You had me chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold. I was chasing fool's gold.
What's it gonna be, him or me? We can cruise the world with pearls, gator boots for girls. The envy of all women, crushed linen, Cartier wristwear with diamonds in them. The finest women I love with the passion. Your man's a wimp, I get that ass a good thrashing. High fashion, flying into all states. Sexing me while your man masturbates. Isn't this great? Your flight leaves at 8, her flight lands at 9. My game just rewinds. Lyrically, I'm supposed to represent.
How about this? There are times when you need someone. I will be by your side. There is a light that shines special for you and me. Yeah. Love you, I do. Love you, y'all. This is for the culture. The culture wins. The culture wins. The culture wins.
They do.
All right, y'all. So we back. Welcome to another BandClap TV rant video. Yeah, you know I'm always trying to figure out ways to not only make my channel greater and make my channel more interesting. I also like to be able to get this information out to a more wider audience, specifically the youth. So instead of it just being a picture like how most of my rant videos are, I wanted to do something different, mainly because due to a lot of trial and error and due to a lot of things that I had to do in order to acquire this, I was finally able to purchase and download NBA 2K20 Mobile, and I found out how I can connect my controller for my PS3 so I won't have to use the screen on my phone, which is a little messed up. So I've really been enjoying this game, but I also learned some lessons in downloading this game and stuff like that. I learned some lessons about that I want to share with you all, and I'll talk about that towards the end of this video, because everything I do, whether it may seem minute or something like that, everything I do is for a reason, and there's a reason why you see some NBA 2K20 mobile gameplay on this rant video. But before I get to that, I just want to thank everybody who checked out my For Colored Girls Mother's Day special that I did live on Mother's Day, and I really hope that that message was able to get to the right people, and I hope that y'all was able to heed that message, because the main thing is, y'all, like I always say, we all need some type of therapy, especially if you're a highly spiritual being and you had to grow up in this fucked up low vibrational matrix called the world that we're living in. And that's the main thing that I wanted to get across. And also, yep, y'all heard the intro, I definitely want to keep the divine energy going that was in that very, very monumental Instagram live stream that Jill Scott and Erykah Badu did, mainly because, and this is funny, as monumental and as needed that live stream was, as you can see, none of these gossip channels, none of these Hollywood gossip channels has even made a video touching on that live stream and how needed and how monumental that it really was, which I'm kind of giving them the side eye, because a lot of these gossip channels, you know, they're quick to talk about the negativity that's going on when it comes to the Love and Hip Hops and the Desperate Housewives and stuff like that. But I haven't been hearing nobody talk about this Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. I haven't been hearing nobody talk about it or make any video about it or anything like that. And remember when I talked about the Shango archetype in the 90s, and when I was talking about that, and I was talking about how Neo Soul represented that last stand, that final stand of the God and Goddess energy coming back to the earth one last time to remind us of who we are, and how this system of soulless beings has been working overtime ever since then to erase that type of influence, to erase that type of music from our vocabulary. And it's funny because I see a lot of conscious rappers and I see a lot of conscious singers and stuff like that, and they're falling to the whims of thinking that nobody really wants to hear consciousness anymore. Nobody wants to hear a woman or a man who can sing, not sing, but sing. You know, nobody wants to hear R&B. Nobody likes slow jams anymore. Nobody likes rap that's actually preaching a message instead of just talking about the type of cars you got and the type of guns that you got and all of this stuff. But if that was the case, then how come that Jill Scott and Erykah Badu battle had so many interactions and views and comments and likes and shares and all of these things. As you can see in that picture that I had, Jill Scott posted that battle had over 1 billion reactions. And like I said, this is going to go down in Instagram history. Forget what Tekashi 6ix9ine did. This right here is going to go down in history. And I remember looking at a video that Dolo the Pilot Man did the other day. And he was talking about, where are all your conscious rappers now? Where are all your singers now and stuff like that? Why isn't nobody putting out any motivational music during this pandemic? Why is it that none of these musicians that have studios in their homes putting out motivational music to help us during this time? Remember when the recession happened back in 2008? And remember how every time that we think about the recession in 2008, the first thing that we think about, among other things, is Young Jeezy's Recession album. Mainly the song that he made about you gotta make your money circulate and stuff like that, which is something that a lot of us took heed to. So when this pandemic happened, we learned from the recession. So a lot of us are economically doing well right now. And then other songs like My President is Black and all of that. But it's crazy that during this time, since nobody of substance really put out any music or any type of stuff during this pandemic, the only thing that we're going to think about is Tekashi 6ix9ine getting set free and all of that. So it's really dope that somebody made an effort to do something to uplift us melanated beings during this time that we're in. Even though it was just a battle, even though it was just a concert that Erykah Badu did in the after party, it's still something that we can look back on this time that we're in right now. And until somebody else put out some music, some motivating music, the Erykah Badu and the Jill Scott battle is going to go down in history for the most motivational, healing thing that happened during this pandemic that we're in. So definitely shout out to them. But there's a reason that I brought that whole thing up. And the reason was because that whole week before Mother's Day, I've really been getting some inklings in my spirit that I need to do some more shadow work, because there's a great message that Spirit has been trying to tell me, but due to me doing things like smoking and eating things that I'm not supposed to be eating and other things like that, my mind, even though I've still been putting out really, really good content, I've still been updating my class and putting out really, really dope live streams, on the back end, my mind has been very cloudy because of those things. So during that time, I started to go on a bit of a detox, eating 1 meal a day, something that's a lot more healthy than eating out, drinking a lot of alkaline water and drinking a lot of sorrel juice, which is really, really good for detoxifying your blood and things like that. I haven't been engaging in the spliffy in a few weeks now. So my mind has been a lot more clearer. But now the only thing that's going on is I haven't really been able to sleep like that, because I depend on the spliffies to get me to sleep at night. So I replaced that with some Unisom tabs, and the first 2 days of me going into dream time, like Bobby Hemmett says, the first day that I did it, I knew that I had a monumental spiritual message in my dream. But since I'm still going on this detox, clearing my mind and clearing my body, I couldn't remember my dream. And then the second day that I went into dream time, I was able to remember a little bit of my dream, but as soon as I got up and got started with my day, I forgot it. But last night, Tuesday night going into Wednesday, out of all the hard work that I've been doing, clearing my mind and clearing my body and all of that, I was finally able to get the spiritual message that Spirit has been trying to tell me for a little while now. But my mind and my body has just been too toxified in order to get that message. And I feel like this is something that a lot of people are going to be going through right now. So I just want to share, like I always do, I just want to share my experience to y'all in hopes that what I'm sharing with you is something that can motivate you during these final times of the pandemic. Because as we know, some states are open back up, businesses are starting to open back up, and people are about to start living like everything is back to normal again. So to the people that took this time to work on themselves and do that shadow work, this is for you. So the way my dream started was I was headed to this theater, And this is how, for the last couple weeks, my dream has been going. But it's just that I can't remember what happened once I got to the theater, and I didn't know why I was going there or anything like that until now. So what I know now is I was going to this theater because I was about to graduate. Now, this isn't like a graduation from high school or a graduation from middle school or anything like that. I don't know what type of graduation this was. It seemed more like a collegiate type of graduation, but it just seemed like during this graduation or during the steps of me preparing and stuff like that, it just seemed like nothing was going right because there was a certain type of suit that you were supposed to wear and all of that stuff. And I mean, it was a lot of other things that stuff just wasn't lining up, and I was having kind of a bad time, even though I was about to graduate. So in the dream, I remember hearing my mom talking on the phone to her mom and my aunties and my uncles on my mom's side, telling everybody that I did such a good job. And I'm kind of taken back because in my heart of hearts, I don't really feel like I've done anything that's just so monumental like that. Because as far as my grades were concerned in this school or whatever that I was graduating from, my grades were not good. I was making like the bare minimum. I was making D's and stuff like that, which is below average, but it's still passing. So I really didn't have any type of high spirits at this graduation. The only thing that I was kind of nervous about was in this dream, I was in the band. I was in a jazz band, and the jazz band was the band that was going to play before the graduation. So I wanted to make sure that I looked the part because I really didn't care about the graduation. The only thing that I cared about was I had a part in one of the jazz tunes that we was going to play, and I was going to have to stand up in front of the stage and play my solo, and I didn't want to be standing up there looking all tacky and stuff like that. So I don't know why this was the case, but one of my teachers had my suit, and I think this was a teacher that didn't really like me like that. And it was funny because, don't tell me why, but the teacher was a white male, and this dude was really mean and he was really strict in this dream. So I really didn't know why he didn't like me because I could barely remember the type of mindset that I was in this dream. But I just remember that throughout the whole stint of me being at this college or school or whatever that I was in, he just always gave me a really hard time. So since he had my suit, I guess he pretty much was figuring that my life or my livelihood or my image was in his hands because he's the one that had my suit. So I'm ripping and running around trying to get everything situated because this is the day of, and you know me, I always end up getting into a lot of problems because I like to do things at the last minute. And sometimes it's not because I just want to do it at the last minute. That's just how things always be working for me for some reason. So I'm rushing, trying to get to the theater where the graduation is being taken place. My mom is in her pure fashion, taking forever to get ready. My dad is fussing, talking about you need to hurry up because he's going to be late and all of this stuff. So I make it up to the school so I can pick up my suit from the white male teacher. So I go, and once I get to him, it's kind of too late because he's already closed up everything in his classroom where the suit was and all of that. And I just got there too late. So I caught him leaving out the school, and I was like, hey, I'm here to get my suit. And he kind of looks at me with this evil, devilish type of grin, like, well, look at who finally showed up, coming here late like you always have been. And now your life is pretty much in my hands. And he kind of did like this evil laugh, and he was kind of like, no, I'm not about to give you your suit, and you're just going to have to deal with it. So now I'm just pissed off because I don't really have any suit clothes or any type of dress clothes like that at home. And I'm really pissed off because he know how much of a laughingstock that I'm about to be if I get on stage and I'm all tacky and all of that stuff. So I had to rush home and ask my dad, did he have any type of suit clothes or anything like that that I can borrow? So I ended up finding a dingy white dress shirt. I had on some really tight, I had some tight suit pants on because they were tailor-made to fit my dad's body type. And me and my dad, we got different body types. So the pants that I had on They were all the way up to my ankles, so you could see my socks and all of that. I had on this really, really big and long blue suit coat that went on one of my dad's suits that he got, because the suit coat was the only thing that I could fit. I couldn't fit any of the other parts of the suit. So I'm looking extra tacky. The only thing that was matching was my tie and the suit coat. Everything else was super tacky, super dingy. I was rushing, so I wasn't able to iron my shirt. So my shirt was super wrinkled. I was just looking so fucking horrible at this graduation. Like, I'm like, man, if this day couldn't get any worse, right? So I'm headed up to the theater, and once I get there, in pure fashion, everybody's laughing at me. That's a part of my graduating class, asking me, what the hell is that I got on? I look like a retired Doink the Clown. I look like I went to Skid Row and ordered the Men's Warehouse Skid Row special. I mean, any type of checks that you would think, I just got super roasted. Now, there were some things about this graduation that I didn't know until I got there. The first thing was that I actually graduated, because, you know, my grades were so low that I didn't think that I was going to graduate. So I found out that I was going to graduate, and this kind of really pissed me off too, because everybody that was sitting down in the graduating class, everybody had the same type of suit on. So as you could tell, I was going to stick out like a sore thumb, like a horrible sore thumb. So one of the people that was in charge of making sure that you had the right type of sashes on and stuff like that, she came to me and she was like, why are you sitting over here with the other graduating class? And I was like, what you mean? You know, and she explained to me that unbeknownst to me, I need to be over here on this other side with the people that was graduating with honors. So I'm looking super confused at her. I'm like, what you mean I'm graduating with honors? Like, I got C's and D's, and I thought I had a few F's in there too. And she explained to me that due to all of the extra credit that I did, extra credit that I didn't even think counted toward but one grade, they were so fascinated with all of the extra credit and all of the bonus work that I was doing around the school and around the community and all of that stuff, that all of that extra credit started to spread out to all of my other grades. And I had so much of this extra credit, she was saying that not only am I graduating, I got all A pluses. So I'm looking like, oh shit, are you serious? And she was like, yeah. So the people that were graduating with honors, they had a special gown that they wore, and they had this golden sash that they would put on them. So now I'm feeling very much at ease. I'm shocked. I'm surprised. I'm happy. I'm filled with joy. Mainly because the main thing that white teacher thought that he took away from me for that moment, he failed, because nobody was going to see my suit because I was going to have on a gown over it. And this really gave me the confidence, this type of confidence that I've never really had before. And in a way, I was kind of feeling a little undeserving of it, but I remember all of that bonus work and all of that extra credit that I was putting in, because I knew that my grades was going to be low, and I did that extra credit in hopes that at least one of my grades will be a good grade amongst all the bad grades that I had. But what I didn't realize was I had such an overflow of bonus points and extra credit points that the school just went ahead and added those bonus points to all of my classes. So like I said, now instead of me having an A plus and a whole lot of D's and almost F's, now I got a report card full of A pluses. So with that being said, the one battle that I didn't even feel like that I was going to win, I won it with flying colors. But the war still isn't over, because remember, in this dream, I still got a jazz performance that I'm gonna have to do after this graduation portion is over, where I'm gonna have to stand up in that dingy, wrinkled, tacky ass suit and try to play a jazz solo and all of that. Now, there was a lot of things that Spirit was telling me after this dream was over, and it kind of made things make sense in a way that I never really thought about until now. And this is the reason why I felt so compelled, even though I'm in the middle of working on this Archangel Michael Chronicles and stuff like that. This is why I feel so compelled to tell y'all this dream that I had, because in this crowd that was in this huge theater that I was in this crowd, you had a whole lot of underclassmen that was at this graduation in this theater. You had a whole lot of parents and cousins, brothers, sister, nieces, nephews, uncles, aunties, grandmothers, grandfathers. You had a whole lot of people that was in the crowd because their son or their daughter or their cousin was up there graduating. And then in the back of the crowd, you had a lot of the students that either they failed and they got to go to summer school, or they barely passed, so they're still going to have to pay a lot of student loans and stuff like that if they want to go to college, or they'll have to go to a community college so they can get the credits to go to a regular college and all of these things. So when it's time for the jazz band performance, because every time that when I was in high school and it was time for me to go up there and do my jazz solo, I would be nervous all the way up to the point where it's time for me to go on stage. And as soon as I stand up and blow my first note, all of that nervousness that I had, it just seemed to go away. And that's how it was. That's how I felt when I was up there with my tenor saxophone, even though I had on this dingy, wrinkled up, and tacky suit. Now, once the graduation ceremony was over, and then it was time for the jazz band to get together so we can start playing and all of that, I was hearing a whole lot of laughing. The jazz band was laughing at me. The graduating class was laughing at me. And I was even hearing a lot of people in the back of the theater laughing at me and stuff like that. And that's how the dream ended. Now, I didn't get the message that I really want to let all of the young people out there and all of the people out here that's been spreading positive messages and positive motivating things during this time, during this pandemic. I didn't get the message really until I woke up, and everything just made so much sense. And what I got was, even though I was hearing all of that laughing and people taking pictures of me and all of that stuff, I still gave it my all in that solo, even though I felt like I looked at very, very tacky and unattractive looking while I was playing that solo. And there was a reason why that I still felt like that. I still felt confident, even though I really didn't feel good about my image and stuff like that, because in the back of my mind, I was still pissed off at that teacher, at that white teacher that didn't give me my suit. And I'm like, if that teacher would have gave me my suit, I wouldn't be going through all of this laughing and, people laughing at me and people talking about me and checking me and all of this stuff. If only I would have been able to get that suit, things would have been different. But this is why everything happens for a reason. And this is what I learned. What I learned was that, while I was up there with my tacky suit playing my solo, the people in the back of the theater was laughing at me, because a lot of the people that was in the back of the theater were the bullies that was in the class. These were the troublemakers in the class. These were the class clowns, the people that has to take this grade over again. The people that got to go to summer school and community college and all of those things in order for them to go to college and have enough credits to do so. These were the people that was in the back of the theater that was laughing the hardest at me. And when I really thought about it, those people don't even matter. Those people don't even matter in the large scheme of things, because being honest with you, they don't really got nothing to be laughing about. But then Spirit really wanted me to pay attention to the quietness of everybody who was in the front of the theater. Spirit zoomed in my dream, zoomed in to all of those aspiring underclassmen who was clapping when I was playing my solo, looking at my family who was so proud of me, and my family who was so supportive of me while I was playing my solo. And they was clapping and cheering and yeah, doing all of those things to make me feel so good while I was on stage. And while in my head, I'm thinking that my image is horrible and it's because of that teacher that I'm looking all tacky and all of that stuff. Well, in all of their minds, that day made me a trendsetter, because unbeknownst to me, that tacky style that I had, once I graduated, a lot of the underclassmen started wearing the same type of suit that I wore at my graduation. And they looked at my tacky suit as a fashion statement because of all of the prestigious awards that I ended up getting in that graduation ceremony. And in a lot of ways, me wearing that tacky suit, it made me stand out for a reason, because even all of the people that was in my graduating class, they was all laughing and scoffing and checking me as well. But see, The difference between me and them is the fact that when I left that ceremony with a free ride. I had so many scholarships, free ride scholarships to very, very prestigious colleges where I didn't have to pay not a single cent to go to those colleges. While the people that was in my graduating class that was laughing at me, if they even want to step foot in one of those classrooms, they would have to pay buku money in student loans and stuff like that in order for them to even step foot in the schools that I was getting a free ride to go to. And see, to those aspiring students that was sitting down in front of the theater looking at me graduate, that's what they saw. So when they looked at me with that tacky suit on, playing my saxophone, they looked at that as motivation. They was like, man, you know, if he can wear a tacky suit like that and get all these awards and get all these free ride scholarships and all of this stuff, if he can do it, then maybe that's the way to go. So all of the underclassmen, they started dressing like me at their graduation. So in my mind, I'm thinking that I'm the ugliest person at the graduation, not knowing that I'm actually setting a fashion statement and not knowing that I'm motivating so many people that's right in front of me. But I'm too busy paying attention to the people that's in the far back of the theater laughing at me, paying attention to the people that's far, far behind me that's laughing at me, instead of me being thankful and being grateful that I'm in a position that I'm in. And at the end of the day, after that ceremony, I had so many of those aspiring underclassmen looking at me as someone to be motivated by, as someone that should be emulated and all of that. And I woke up Wednesday morning with just so much joy in my heart, just with so much thankfulness, with so much gratefulness in my heart that I made it. I graduated. I was able to keep my head above the water in this time, while so many people that were not prepared and so many people that didn't listen to Spirit, you know, those people are struggling right now. So many people lost their jobs and so many people went homeless and so many people went through so many things just because they didn't listen to Spirit. And I did. And me being so successful during this time, you're going to have people that is looking at the things that I do as something that's a non-factor, and they may laugh at it. They may scoff at it or something like that. But on a spiritual sense, Spirit was showing me that all of these reviews and all of these very, very positive interactions that I've been getting with people since I've been doing the work that I've been doing, that's what should be my motivating force to keep on this path. Because unbeknownst to me, someone that's always looked at himself as average, somebody that's not really extraordinary, because I really haven't been able to spread my wings and show people what I really can do and who I really am. Spirit is showing me that with me about to be 29 next Friday, that not only did I graduated with honors, and I'm about to get a full ride into this next 11-year cycle that I'm about to go into when I turn 29. And with this, I'm speaking to all my young people out there who's trying to give people this information and motivation and stuff like that. And you feel like this information is going on deaf ears. You feel like nobody cares. You feel like you're talking to yourself. You feel like nobody is gonna listen to you. You feel like no one's listening to you. You feel like no one is hearing you. I just want to be the one to tell you that no, you are far, that's farther from the truth. Like I said, not everybody that views your video, or not everybody that you give this information to, not everybody is going to comment. Not everybody is going to like the video. Not everybody is going to reach out to you and tell you how much of a help and how much of a motivating force that you've been to them. But Spirit, meaning Akasha, all of the great Orishas, all of the spiritual ancestors, they're telling us that no matter what you think of yourself, you doing this work and you being out on the front lines combating this system of soulless beings that represented that white teacher in my dream. I just want to tell y'all to be happy, to look at your tacky suit that you got on. Look at that as you being able to stick out, because you're not like everyone else. You're not like everyone else who got the same type of ice on, who got the same type of car, and who got the same type of material possessions that's going to fade away. What you got, even though you may feel like your spiritual awakening doesn't mean shit to anybody else. What I want to tell y'all is the things that you're doing in this time to motivate and help people, this is going to stand the test of time. And these videos and those motivating messages that you're spreading to those younger people out there who's lost and they don't know how they're going to make it. You don't know this, but you're really being a trendsetter to those people. And at the end of the day, that's what really, really matters. And we all are graduating with honors right now. If you were doing this type of work during this pandemic, you're graduating with honors right now. And you're about to get a free ride into this new world, into this new cycle, and all the things that you've been going through these past 11 years. All these things that has held you back these past 11 years. All of these things that have made you feel less of a human, less of a person, less of a god or a goddess, less of a being. I just want to tell y'all that not only are we graduating with honors, because all of this spiritual work that we've been doing has counted against our grade in a way that we didn't even know. Not only that, you're about to get a free ride that all of the people that talked about you, all of the people that was checking you, all the people that was trying to flag your videos and all of these things, they're going to be the ones looking stupid because they're going to have to be the ones to repeat their cycle over. They're going to go into the new world picking up the pieces. They're going to be going into the new world doing shadow work because they didn't take care of their business before this pandemic and even during this pandemic. They're going to be the ones that's going to be struggling in this new world. They're going to be the ones that's going to be suffering in this new world, while we're going to be sitting on top of the world somewhere drinking our pina coladas in the sun on vacation, not having to worry about a thing because we put in so much work during this time and it's all paying off. So I had so much happiness and joy and thankfulness in my heart when I woke up Wednesday morning. And it kind of reminded me of when I graduated from high school back in 2009. 2, 9, 11. I'm gonna be 29. 2 plus 9 is 11. So this is a very, very monumental and evolving time for me because, as you know, I'm a life path 11 and I'm about to be 29 and that's 11. We're in the year 2020 and we know that 4 is the number of learning and things like that. So me being a life path number 11 and me turning 29 in this year of learning, it means graduation. It means that I'm about to graduate to something that's higher than I could ever even imagine. And I was just so thankful and I was just so grateful. And it reminded me of when I was in high school because I kind of went through the same situation then. I didn't know myself. I was in a very, very low vibrational type of state. I was barely passing my classes. I had a lot of issues with depression and things like that. And me having to take lean or the generic version of promethazine just to go to sleep at night, and having to wake up early in the morning, my body and my mind and all of that was already in a low type of state because I didn't have things like energy drinks and stuff like that to get my mind back into that higher type of mode like I do now. I remember that the only thing that kept me in school was band, particularly jazz band. Shout out to my jazz band director, Mr. Huddleston. May God rest his soul. And I remember that I had a math teacher, melanated woman, and her name was Miss Hardaway. And everybody who went to Overton High School in Memphis, y'all knew how hard of a teacher that Miss Hardaway was. And then she was a math teacher on top of all of that. And Miss Hardaway did not play. She did not play. And she kind of had this track record that a lot of people would have to take the 12th grade all over again because they failed Miss Hardaway's class. And I remember it was a situation to where I turned in an assignment and I made an F on it. And I tried my best. I even tried to ask my mom and dad, have them help me on it and all of that. And I failed. And Miss Hardaway, in the middle of the class, in front of everybody, called my dad at work to tell him that I failed. And usually that's a situation to where you would get in a lot of trouble if your teacher had to call your parent during work. Woo! That's a recipe for a super ass whooping. But in my case, I could hear my dad on the phone saying that he tried to help me and he tried to put me around some of my other family members and they couldn't help me. So she suggested that I would have to find some type of way to get with her in her downtime so she could tutor me. Now, I was in band practice for a lot of times after school, so I couldn't do it then. So what I would do is I would have to forfeit eating lunch. And instead of me eating lunch, I would go to Miss Hardaway's class for tutoring. So you could only imagine, I'm at school all day, plus me having to do marching band, concert band, and jazz band. All of this on an empty stomach, simply because I'm trying to make sure that I pass Miss Hardaway's class. Because pretty much after the first report card period, I was making straight F's in her class. It was either a 55 or 57, and I think the last grade before my final grade was like a 68. So as you can see, I was about to fall into the same statistic of all the other seniors that ended up having to take the 12th grade all over again, all because they failed her class. And the thing about it is, with her, she had a specific type of gripe when it came to all of the Kappa people. Now, when I say Kappa, I don't mean a Greek fraternity. When I say Kappa, I mean creative and performing arts. So all the people who were in her class, and they was in band, they was in drama, they was in, all of the creative and performing arts programs. All the people who had to skip her class because we was taking band trips and we was taking trips to go perform and stuff like that, she showed absolutely no mercy when it came to those type of people. Because her main thing was, she was like, now you know that you got a trip coming up in a few days, or you know that you're going to be missing time out of my class. So it's up to you to come to me and let me know what's going on, so I can give you all of the homework and all the classwork that you're going to miss while you're not in my class. So if you don't take it upon yourself to make sure that you got all the classwork that you missed and make sure that you got all of your makeup work, you're going to get a 0 like everybody else. I'm not showing you no type of sympathy or any type of mercy or anything like that. So yeah, her name wasn't Miss Hardaway for nothing. So for the latter part of my senior year, this would be something that I would do as a routine. And it started to get to the point where I would pack me a lunch because, another thing was, during my senior year, after school, I was working at Sonic, which was a fast food restaurant that was right across from my house. So I would pack me a little lunch, a couple bologna and cheese sandwiches, a Capri Sun, and whatever else that we had in the refrigerator. And instead of me going to lunch, I would religiously go to Miss Hardaway's class so she can tutor me. Now, I was still failing her class, but my grades were getting higher and higher and higher. And she really, really saw that I was trying, because I would be one of the only people in the Kappa program who would even try to schedule a tutoring session with her. So she kind of looked at that as, at least he's trying. So it got to the end of the school year, and, the seniors, we're going on our senior trips and senior picnics and proms and all of these different things. And Miss Hardaway was so nice, because in a lot of cases, she would be the chaperone and go on some of these trips too. But she would say that, I'm always nice and stuff like that. But if you know that you failed and stuff like that, I'm not going to have no sympathy for you. I'm still going to smile in your face and stuff like that. And you're going to have a big fat F on your report card, and you're going to have to take this class in summer school or whatever. And the main thing that she would say was that she don't do summer school, because her summers are when she goes on her vacations and do things with her husband and with her family. So unless there was another math teacher that could take her place, you wouldn't have no choice but to either go to a vocational school or something like that, or I forgot what they would call it, like a night school or something like that, or you would just have to repeat the grade next year. So yeah, she didn't play. So it got to that time where we're at the graduation rehearsal, and I mean, that auditorium was full of people. And out of all of those people that showed up at the graduation rehearsal, I would say a third of those people actually graduated that year in 2009. And I remember before the graduation rehearsal was over, our principal, Mr. Lawson, let everybody know, he gave that very, very famous speech, and he was saying that everybody that's in this auditorium, they need to make sure that they got their phones on and stuff like that, because for everybody who's not going to graduate, he's going to give each and every one of the people that's not going to graduate a phone call to their parents to let their parents know what kind of options that student has, whether it's summer school or night school or something. And if your parent got called, that means that you're not going to graduate. You're not going to walk. So don't look dumbfounded when you don't get a cap and gown and everybody else does. And man, when I tell you, it was so quiet in that auditorium, you could hear a pin drop. And I remember while everybody was leaving out and Miss Hardaway was at the front shaking everybody's hands and smiling and stuff like that. And then it was my turn to get in front of her and shake her hand while I was leaving out the building. And I reached out my hand to shake her hand, and she looked at me with that same smile and that same grin. And she was like, "All right, Ricky, congratulations. I'll see you tomorrow. Good luck." And man, I just felt this heavy feeling in the pit of my stomach for the whole entire day. I was pacing the floor. I didn't want to play my game. I didn't want to do nothing, because the thing about it was, you didn't know what medium that they was going to call. You didn't know if they was going to call your house phone. You didn't know if they was going to call your mom's phone, your dad's phone. And in my case, my mom and my dad had a cell phone. And then plus, we had the house phone. So man, you could only imagine. Every time the phone rang, my heart would skip a beat, because I'm telling y'all, man, like I said, to this day, I don't know how I graduated. Looking back on it, I don't know how I graduated. You know, the only thing that kept me from dropping out of school was band. And I would have to make sure that my grades was up to at least D's, because if you had F's and stuff like that in class, you couldn't be in a band. And in jazz band, your grades had to be at a certain point to be the first tenor. So there was a few semesters to where I had to give up my spot as first tenor, not because I couldn't play or something like that, but it was because my grades were so low in Miss Hardaway's math class that my band director, as soon as he found it out, he would take away my spot. So you already know how this story ends. I didn't get that dreadful phone call, and I was finally able to go to sleep that night knowing that I'm about to graduate the next day. And man, me walking across that stage, getting my diploma, I just felt so empowered. Like, I felt like a huge burden was just lifted off of me, because other than band, I hated being at school, especially high school. I just felt like I was going to prison every time I went to school. And now it's finally the time. I'm finally through with this. I'm finally done with this. I ain't got to see none of y'all no more. So, as you would imagine, I wasn't like all of the other people that was graduating who was sticking around to take pictures and do all of this stuff. I think I was one of the first people to leave the building after the graduation ceremony was over. I was just ready to get up out of there, man. And just like in my dream, I left that school with a full ride scholarship to TSU. So it's just crazy how this dream of me graduating and my actual graduation in 2009 is so much similar. And as you know, in 2009, Kobe and the Lakers actually won a championship in 2009. And it's just a crazy coincidence that in this 11 year of me being 29, we lost Kobe. So it's just crazy how all of this is lining up when it comes to me. And I remember during that time, one of the main songs that I was listening to that gave me a lot of motivation during that time, it was a song called "I Could Have Lost It All" by Cassidy. And I can't lie, Wednesday, after I had that dream, I had to go back and listen to that song. And just me thinking about all of the things these past 10 years that I've been going through, all of the times these past 10 years that I could have gave up, all of the things that I went through these past 10 years, these past 11 years, all of the things that could have landed me in jail, all of the times that I wasn't thinking, having unprotected sex, and all the times that I could have got a woman pregnant that I had no intentions of marrying. Even when it came to my recent situation with my ex, that at one time we were talking about marriage, and those twins that didn't make it. Just me just thinking about all of those things that I went through these past 11 years, and how everything made me stronger, made me wiser, made me look at life in a totally different way than I did in 2009. And I encourage you all out there to do the same thing. And just like how I had to do a lot of shadow work and I had to get a lot of therapy and stuff like that after I graduated from high school, that's the same thing that you all out there, you all had to do the same thing. And some of you all are just starting to do that now. Now, this is where I get to the reason why, instead of it just being a picture that you see on the screen, you see some gameplay from me playing 2K20 mobile on my phone. And yes, this is my Papa Legba build. And he looks like that old man who still got it. Now, there's a story behind this video. And I just want to share this with y'all, especially to the young people out there. And I know with me posting this gameplay, this is going to draw a lot of the young people to watch this video. And this is the best that I could do, at least right now, with it being on my phone, because I really don't really see the value in getting a PS4 now, since the PS5 is right around the corner. So I'll pretty much wait and get a PS5 when it comes out, since I waited so long to get a PS4. And as you know, 2K20 on PC sucks ass, so I just decided to get the mobile version. Now, before I had 2K20 on my phone, this whole time I was playing 2K18 on my phone, and I had the same Papa Legba build, but instead of him being a slasher like he is on this game, on my last game he was a spot up shooter. So pretty much, for all my people out there who don't know what that is, a slasher is somebody who has a lot of quickness, they have a lot of agility, they're able to have access to a lot of different dribble moves and stuff like that, and they're able to quickly get to the basket and lay up, do a lot of acrobatic type of layups, or they're able to do a lot of acrobatic type of dunks and stuff like that. Now, a spot up shooter, his main goal is to be in the right position, so as soon as someone passes him the ball, he can shoot, and his shooting stats are so high that when he shoot, it's automatic, kind of like Ray Allen in his older days. So when I had this build as a spot up shooter in 2K18, he was a beast. You know, he was dropping almost 50 points a game. I had him on a failing Orlando Magic team, and he was easily the star because he was able to put up so many points for the team, and I was able to bring the Magic to the playoffs, and we won twice. So I was able to get 2 championships with my spot up shooter Papa Legba build. Now, due to a lot of trial and error, I was finally able to get 2K20 on my phone. And one thing that I noticed was that the controls for 2K20 and the controls for 2K18 are totally different on the phone, on the mobile version. So much so that I tried to make the same type of build as a spot up shooter on 2K20, and I tried to put him on a failing Memphis Grizzlies team, thinking that I was going to be able to do the same type of things that I was doing in 2K18. And I was sorely mistaken. They didn't updated a lot of the AI on 2K20. They didn't updated a lot of the animations. They've updated the defense and stuff like that, to the point where every time I would get the ball, I would get double teamed. And since I'm so used to just catching and shoot, I would get the ball blocked every time I would try to shoot. And since I didn't really learn how to do any of the dribble moves and all of that type of stuff, instead of me dropping 40 and 50 points a game, winning the game, now I'm only dropping 4 to 6 points. And that's only because when I would get fouled, I would shoot free throws. And since I was turning over the ball so much when I was on the Grizzlies, now I'm barely getting any time off the bench. So that's when I got frustrated, and I'm like, you know what? Let me do this build over. So instead of having him as a spot up shooter, now I got him as a slasher. So since he got these new abilities, since he has this new position, that means that I'm gonna have to do something that I didn't really do on 2K18, and that was to practice and to train. So I got in the gym, I started practicing, learning how to do different dribble moves and different crossover moves and stuff like that. So instead of me having an outside game, now I'm focusing more on going inside, getting into the paint, getting a lot of close range type of shots, which is something that I wasn't really doing before because the outside was working for me in 2K18. And after some hard work and some determination, I may not be dropping 50, 60 points like I was doing in 2K18, but I'm doing just what I need to do to come out with the win anyway. Now, why did I tell y'all this story about me playing NBA 2K20 and all of that stuff? Well, what I'm trying to say is a lot of us are evolving now. A lot of us are going through our spiritual awakening, our spiritual graduation and stuff like that. And some of us think that we can go into our next phase with the same type of player build. Or what I mean to say is some of us think that we can go into this new world with our same type of mindset from the years before. Some of us think that we can go into this new world with the same type of ideologies, with the same type of procrastination type of attitude, with the same type of cushion that you can just get a regular job and get your pension and your 401k, and everything is going to be fine and all of that. And that used to be the thing back in the day when our parents were coming up and our great grandparents and our grandparents was coming up. But in this time, in this new world, if you don't have a type of skill that can get you money, if your job closes up or something like that, you're going to be shit out of luck when a pandemic happens, as we see now, or if something happens where the type of job that you're working is no longer needed. Like I said, we're getting to that point where robots are starting to take over. A lot of automation and stuff like that is starting to happen. And this pandemic is really going to show people how unimportant you really are to the job market. And what I really hoped that this pandemic taught us is that the whole model that we've been learning all of our life, that model has been torn down. And the new model is entrepreneurship, getting a tangible skill that you can go into business for yourself and still be able to put up the type of money that you need so that when a pandemic or something like that happens, you'll be straight, because financially you've put money to the side, and you've been able to put money to the side and not touch that money that you put to the side simply because you worked so hard to get your business off the ground, and it's finally up and running like a well-oiled machine, that if everything else around you is closed down and stuff like that, you're still making money simply because now everybody has to come to you for your service. Now everybody has to come for you and buy from you because you're the only one that decided to turn your skill and stuff like that into a profitable business. And like I said, this is what I learned while doing these readings and starting my class and stuff like that, how I've been able to keep my head above the water during this pandemic, while a lot of other people that was in my same position in the entertainment industry and in the show production industry, where to some people that was their only bread and butter. Well, a lot of those people are struggling really bad right now, and it's only by the grace of the Most High and you all out there, my soul family, that I've been able to do this. And this isn't the only thing that I'm doing. Meliamar Jewelry, Gemstones, and Apparel is making a very powerful comeback in 2020. I got some new t-shirt designs that I'm about to put out, and these are going to be put on t-shirts, hoodies, tank tops, halter tops, any type of top that you all are interested in. That's what it's going to be on. And these are going to be some original designs that are heavily inspired by the Orishas, something that came strictly from my head, that I'm working with a designer to put these designs out. So it's not going to be just a text or a generic picture or something like that. I'm paying a lot of money. I'm using pretty much all of my money from my stimulus check and putting it into Meliamar to get it restarted and rebranded and all of those type of things. So I'm gonna go into my 29th year with a bang. And I really hope that you all support my Meliamar brand like you've been supporting my videos and my podcast and stuff like that. And that isn't the only thing that I'm doing. You know, I'm doing so many things behind the scenes so that I can be on my entrepreneurial tip, where I can travel around and maybe do a vlog or something like that in the very near future. And I don't have to worry about being in a certain place, because that's where all the show production work is, or being in a certain city because that's where all the show production gigs are. I want to be able to still use show production as a vehicle to earn extra income and stuff like that, but that's what I want it to be, extra income. I want my main income to come from my products that I sell, my readings that I give, and the different other services that I'm about to start offering. And speaking of my class, I got another module that's about to come out really soon that's going to be talking about how to use Orisha archetypes to explain your inner child. So that's going to be really powerful, and this is something that I wouldn't ever put on YouTube. This is going straight to my class in a new module, and for everybody that's already a part of my class, like I said, you get this free of charge. So make sure, if you haven't already, join, enroll. This shadow work class is by far the most powerful thing that I've set up for you all to learn, and I'm really proud of it. You know, even myself, I go back and watch those videos in my class as well to keep myself on the right track. So I'm just not saying this to y'all, but I go back and I watch those things in my class as well, because sometimes we give out so much information as spiritual messengers and stuff like that. Sometimes we forget our own messages because we give out so many. So just like how I'm helping you all and I'm channeling through these spiritual ancestors and stuff like that, sometimes I have to go back and look at my own videos to motivate myself. So in closing, I just want to tell y'all, man, that for all the people who during this pandemic has been giving out truths, giving out the information from the ancestors to keep us motivated, to keep us on our path and all of that, as this pandemic comes to a close, we're graduating. And even if you feel like that the message that you put out didn't get heard, I just want to let y'all know that that's further from the truth. We're all graduating, and we're all graduating with honors. And if you did that type of work and put that message out during this time, you too are going to have a full ride scholarship into this new world, and it's going to make you glad that you did. So that's my video. I just wanted to get this message out, and I don't know who this message was meant for, because I normally don't make videos talking about my dreams and stuff like that unless Spirit tells me that I need to, and Spirit told me that I needed to. So I really hope that whoever this message was meant to get to, it got to y'all. And if you want to see more of this build, and if you want to know what type of attributes that I got, what type of badges that I got, or if you want to play me, because the new 2K mobile has an option to where you can play other people online. So if you want to see more gameplay footage, or if you want to see me make more videos showing gameplay footage, let me know, because I'm always trying new things out to see what sticks, and whatever sticks, I'll keep making more of that content. So until next time, as you always know, make sure you follow me on YouTube, BandClap TV. Make sure you click the notification bell, make sure it's ringing, because so many people have been hitting me up and telling me that they haven't been notified every time I do a premiere or something like that. And also, if you haven't already, make sure that you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, BandClap TV. Follow me on Snapchat as well. It's either Mr.BandClap or BandClap TV, one of them. And like I always say, www.bandclaptv.com is where you'll get all the information when it comes to my readings that I offer. And when you scroll down, you'll get the link to be able to enroll into my shadow work class. So definitely make sure that you go there. And until next time, BandClap TV, we out. And like I always say, no matter what, you gotta stay shining. Gotta stay shining.